welcome back. I'm Michael Sandler, your host on Inspire Nation, along with
CJ Lou from the Fired Up with CJ show.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
If you've ever wanted to recharge, refresh, or simply start again, whether that's your day, your life, or even your career, then do we have the Reboot show for you. Today we'll talk about rebooting and reinvention, how to do it, when to do it, and why it's so incredibly valuable, even if things are going great. That plus we'll talk about past life regressions, Michael Moore activation, memories with cats, meeting with exes, daily stepping up to the kitty plate, and why laying in the dirt may just be the greatest thing in the world. So welcome back to the show, CJ. Are you ready to
I
shine?
am ready to shine. Woohoo!
Woo!
So, laying in the dirt. What's happening?
It's been an interesting couple weeks. My health was coming back through last weekend,
Yeah.
and then we ended up the week started off with a lot of to-dos for our anniversary, which was 10/10/17. So to get the day off on Tuesday, there was a lot to do on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday was a big day, lots to do, lots to get done, and lots of traveling. And I put myself back under the weather a little
Oh
bit.
no,
I made it
no,
to like
Michael,
90,
no.
95%, but needed that extra push. So,
Oh.
so I've been, just not quite 100%
Wait, but
right
on
now.
the day of, were you able to celebrate okay?
Oh, it was a stunningly amazing day. So it
Yeah,
worked out great, and I have no complaints at all.
right.
But right now, Jessica's in Colorado for a few days. In fact, behind me, I have the image of Hanging Lake, which is by Glenwood Springs, Colorado,
Yeah.
which she's trying to get to. She's not sure if she's going to have the opportunity to, but she's wanting to work her way over there. And so there's been a lot to take care of the kitties, take care of the show.
Yeah, when Jessica's
After
gone, it's hard.
It is. So after this interview, I'm going to go give myself the best prescription in the world, and I'm going to go lay on the dirt for about an hour and get some vitamin G, some vitamin ground myself, get some fresh air, and start to feel better. And then this will be like the napathon weekend of all weekends.
Okay, wait. So you literally lay in the dirt. So what does it look like when you lay in the dirt?
I may have my feet on actual dirt. I'll probably be more on lawn than dirt itself, but I want to be in direct contact with the earth. There's all sorts
Mm.
of scientific studies on the power of grounding, on draining negative ions and
Mm.
inflammation from the body, of resyncing yourself with Schumann's resonance, with the vibration of the earth, and it reboots your immune system. So I am literally going to do a reboot on the earth today, probably tomorrow, probably Sunday, and I will kick this by spending time on the earth
And how long do you spend lying on the earth?
as long as I can. In this case, I'll probably go about an hour, is my
Well, so
guess.
are you meditating? Are you reading? Are you checking
You can
your
do anything,
emails?
but oh God, no. You can do anything, but when you're connected to the earth, why check email? What a perfect time to check intramail, check in with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably just go to the breath, and I'll spend a blissful hour either going to the breath or going beyond the breath and even letting the breath go.
Wait, so you sit
And it's
down with your bottom and your feet, or are you
oh,
lying
I'm
on
gonna
with your
be
back?
you can, and I often tell people to do that at lunchtime if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling ungrounded, to go just sit on the earth. But in this case, I'm going to lay down. I want every bit a square inch of me
Mm.
that can be in contact with the earth. Granted, I'll have some clothing on, but shorts and a short sleeve. I just want as much of me in contact as I can get.
You know, it's funny. I just started shaking because I thought, oh, it's like when I say I have this period each day in my meditation where I say, please release any, and I'll probably shake, but I say, please release any negative energy in my psyche or negative, and it, and there's a period where I just like literally shake off all the energy. And someone had said, I just did an interview with Lee Harris, and he suggests saying like, please release any energies that are not mine, or seriously, my energy works on command, or please release any, negative energies to my psyche, and so it does kind of the similar kind of thing. it sounds like so
Same
after.
concept. And so I'll be connected, literally connected to the earth, sort of like we plug in our computers and stuff to ground so that they get grounded. I will be grounded. And, if you go barefoot through the grass or if you go barefoot to the beach and you feel that that draining, you're literally draining a charge off of your body. The
Hmm.
sky has one charge, the body has another. That's why there are lightning strikes. It's why in the winter you can shuffle your feet and go up to somebody you love and go, hey, hey, and zap them. It's because you carry a charge.
Right.
That charge scrambles our brains, it scrambles our immune system. It causes us to have a sympathetic nervous system amygdala response because we were in nature, which is where we evolved. We were never carrying a charge because we weren't wearing insulated shoes in insulated homes or insulated buildings or driving insulated rubber tire vehicles around. We were always
Mm,
in touch with the earth. And so
mm.
I'm going to go and get, just like you're saying, that let go of that energy that does not serve me and go connect to the earth.
Okay, so here's what I'm wondering because I have sneakers that are barefoot sneakers per your recommendation. I just bought a whole bunch of new Ultras. And not that those are your recommendations, but they're barefoot running shoes. And they still have rubber on the ground. So, right? So, am I not
Well, and
grounding?
you're not grounding, and I will say that there's an irony that even Altra, which is a great manufacturer, when you hear the term barefoot running shoes, that's kind of an oxymoron.
Mm-hmm.
Barefoot's barefoot, the running shoes are running shoes.
Right.
Most do not have any direct connection to the ground. There are a few good ones out there. Earth runners make a fantastic, more of a walking and hiking sandal, which actually has copper grommets
Yes, I
that
have
go
those.
through it. Oh, awesome. That is a more direct electrical connection.
Mm-hmm.
With the ultras, they allow your toes to spread. That's
Yes.
great for other benefits, but it doesn't give you that connection. What you'll find is if you spend time in the Earth Runner or spend time, there are other shoes, you can look them up online, that electrically ground or help you remove that charge. Sort of, there are some really expensive shows for Silicon Valley for people working with chips because
Hmm.
they have to stay grounded or they'll
Wow.
fry out the little silicon chips. And that's a
Wow.
billion-dollar industry.
Right.
When you are connected to ground, you have more energy. Your
Hmm.
feet swell less, your legs swell less, and you just feel better. So if you stay in those earth runners longer, you actually feel more energized throughout the day.
Interesting. I did not know that. That's interesting. Okay. So what's going on with your talking about stepping and walking? What's going on with your kitty?
Well, stepping up to the kitty plate means I get to be the real papa for a few days.
Oh, right, because
So,
Jessica's
so
gone.
Jessica's gone, and so the kitties. If Jessica's listening to this, we're about 24 hours in. I think they're in a little bit of mourning right now. Where is she? And they're going to start to warm up. It's not that they don't love me. They're going to start to warm up to me more until I become their world that they revolve, or I revolve around them, or vice versa. I will be their servant for the next few days, and it'll be a beautiful bonding experience. It's challenging because I do want nothing more than to nap in between the shows right now, and so it's been a little bit of hold on, but I've got to have that parenting component. As any parent listening to this, when you're not feeling good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you still have to be a parent.
You
Yeah, you're
still
still like,
have to be a
yeah,
parent.
pick them up at school, everything.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be stepping up to the kitty plate, and with three kitties, that's a good little bit to take care of. Not complaining. I love them very, very dearly. Also, be doing a little coon care. With the little raccoons here.
How are
Although the
they
coons
doing?
here, as far as I know, they're doing great. They're visiting a couple times a day. They found a couple other little dens that they're like hanging. We've got to wonder if they're like starting to get to know people in the neighborhood. We're not sure about this, but they're growing up to be big little raccoons. They're
Like
nine
they,
or
you
ten
said they were
weeks
like
now.
this big, so how are they,
Oh yeah,
how big are they now?
it could still fit your whole palm. Maybe the front legs on the end of your fingers, and their butt would be back toward your wrist,
Oh, so they're
but they
small. They're still really
still
small.
small. Yeah.
Oh.
And they'll go running and scampering across the grass together. And Jessica has seen them, which is really cool. She's seen them. It kind of freaked her out. Climb up a tree, climb way up a tree, and she's going, how do we get them down? But they came down on their own. That was their gig, is they know to go up. So that was really cool.
Yeah, because they're not around their moms. So I guess who trains them? I guess how do they learn what to do?
That's been the biggest question. It's not like, I can go put on a little kitty costume, a raccoon costume,
Right.
and show them how to catch worms and birds and such. It's an excellent question. I've been looking online and trying to Google this one myself, and
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
pretend to have the answer to stephood with raccoons and
Well, I was
stepfatherhood.
just in New York and I saw cats.
Mhm.
So I was wondering, have you seen cats before? Because if you're a big cat lover, that's the Broadway show to watch.
Oh no, I haven't watched Cats. I thought you were talking about feral cats, which we have a couple, but I haven't watched
No,
Cats.
the Cats the Broadway play because it's all about different types of cats and the personalities of cats and how they're so different than dogs and it's like they talk about like I'm a calico cat, I'm a St. James cat, and each of them has their unique look, style, and personality, and so they're basically acting out cats, their
Sounds
personalities,
brilliant.
and singing funny songs about cats. And given that I'm not a cat person, I was like, why did I come here?
Oh, no.
Very, but I thought if I were a cat person, I would just be loving the show. And I didn't realize Cats has been on Broadway since 1980s, I think. Like 19, I remember my girlfriend from college getting tickets to Cats, and it was the Hamilton of that day. Like it were super expensive to get into Cats. It was like a big deal. There, and the way that it works is stuff that I don't know if they can even do anymore now. And it's an Andrew Lloyd Webber play, and it has that same kind of grand theater and presentation. Like nowadays, when you go to Broadway, they're very slimmed down because Broadway shows they don't know how long they're going to
Budget.
last. Sorry.
I said budget.
Yeah, they don't know how if they're going to last for that long, so they can't spend millions of dollars or whatever. But the scenery was quite grand, and then they had people running up and down the aisles, which I have to say, having not had that in a while, it's kind of scary because you're kind of thinking like it could be a terrorist or this is awful, but you kind of
This
worry.
thought has never occurred to me, but I haven't been to Broadway in a few years, so
Well, yeah, I mean now because there've been instances of people yelling, screaming, bombing in movie theaters that you figure, well, they could be coming in to the theater. So when you have someone running around or touching you, you're not really used to it. So the cats go around and they like touch you with their paws and things like that.
oh
But it was
cool.
just so interesting to just see the kind of musicality and the way they sing is very distinct kind of broad. So it was like going back to the past of my childhood when I used to watch Broadway plays and then they sang the song Memories. Do you know Memories? Na 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 na. It's just a beautiful song. And I thought, that's a really old song from my parents' time, right? And no, it was actually from Cats. And I thought, oh my gosh, it felt like an ancient song, but it's my song. I'm now the ancient song. So it was kind of ironic, the whole memories thing.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, you say you're not a cat person. Have you ever had a cat before?
No, no. Cats don't like me, I don't think. And really allergic to cats. Oh, God bless you.
Excuse me. We will be editing that out. Um, it seems. Let me get that down. It seems maybe there. I guess there. I was going to say there are two categories of cat people. Maybe there's three categories. There's people who've had cats and they love cats. There are people who haven't had cats yet, and when they do have them, then they fall in love with cats in general. And then there's the third category who are so allergic they probably won't. Jessica was actually really allergic when she got her first cat, and she wanted a cat so badly that what she did is she slept by the cat, put it next to her pillow each night, and she didn't struggle so much with the symptoms overnight in her sleep, the sniffles and stuffed up nose and stuff. It's more of a daytime thing. And after a couple of weeks, the symptoms went away
Wow. So
and
she got
never
over
came
her
back.
allergies.
She
Wow.
inoculated herself to cats. And there are still some people who have cats and won't like them, but I found in having them, because I would never have considered myself a cat person before, Oh, I absolutely love and adore them, and they're so unique and have such great personalities. Yes, some of them are very much, it is our way. We own this house. But that's okay too, because like Meowsers, it is his way. He does own this house, but he is very grounded and has what we call POW. He holds space for this
Hmm.
whole house. If you're not feeling well, he will come up to you and take care of you. If you're struggling to sleep, he will come up and nuzzle by your side. He is very clearly here to hold space for all of us.
Hmm.
And so these cats been around since the Egyptians and before. I say they've really got it going on.
Hmm. So what do you think are the healers?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In fact, they'll definitely be attracted to you if you're not feeling well. And so we want to make sure that if they spend time with us, if we're not feeling well, that we take extra TLC to them so that they're not like holding on to any negative energy or anything that we may have given them, because they'll do everything they can to make you feel better.
Okay, so will the cats that you're on cat duty now, cat care,
Mhm.
will they take care of you? Even though they're
Yeah,
more akin to Jessica?
Love Bug came for the first time ever, and I took a nap yesterday afternoon because I was exhausted after my interview, and snuggled up right behind, when if you're on your side, right behind my knees, and curled up there
No.
as much as she could. And she never does that with me. And
Hmm.
Meowsers is already taking extra time with me, so they will actually be looking after me. They're every bit as human as a little kid, and but they're more present. They're also more sensitive to energy. So you really do need to be on your A game or watch your energy, or you freak cats out. But they're a lot more present. They're more present than dogs, which are like happy, happy, happy. Which
Mm-hmm.
that's me. I'm a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they're not maybe aware most of them of the details or of the subtleness or of the energy going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the cat is paying exquisite attention. They are like Zen Buddha masters,
Hmm.
uh,
That's
always in
interesting because
meditation.
I've been starting to write my story, of which I don't even know what I'm going to do with this story. But I one of them involves when my right before my dad died. Um, I had our house got broken into. My house got broken into, stole all my jewelry, and then the next day, my like of the week afterwards, my car got hit and was like jammed up on a curb. And then the week after that, I had all these black cats that kept on crossing my path, and I was like, oh no, like not just like one, like four, maybe even five, six, like that many black cats. And until just recently, when I've actually been taking time to write and to contemplate and reflect, like, what do those cats actually mean? Um, I realized, well, one, it felt like they feel like a past life regression kind of thing, and they also feel like it's about like there it was like an echo because there was like one black cat after another passing me. But I also wonder if it's the thing that you're talking about too, if they're there like holding presence or asking you to be present during that time because there was something. And then, like that the week afterwards, my dad died. So it was like these cats felt like they were foreshadowing me, but I thought they were foreshadowing bad luck. But I wonder if in fact they were actually doing more about being present and things like that. Um, so it's funny that you're talking about refresh or reboot or reinvention because as I was contemplating cats, I mean it's interesting how this is all folding together. I realized that when I was contemplating these cats that it was about a period of like these one cat after another. It was kind of like showing me the passing of generations. So my dad died, then I came along, and then Gideon came along, and then the kids came along, and the cats seemed to be reflecting that echo, Um,
It,
yeah.
it's kind of cool. It's tangential, but I was looking for the right image. It came up with a hanging light for the image. If you're watching on YouTube, which is where Jessica's going to try to visit this weekend
Mm-hmm.
while she's in Colorado, I was looking actually for waterfall images. There is a waterfall by Maui, Eo Valley, it's called, that has this river that comes through it. That I went hiking in one day. I don't know, a year or two after we got to Maui. Jessica was sick, and I went hiking in there. It was very refreshing, and it was a reboot for me. I came back after dusk, and my hairs were like standing on end on my arms. Because
Wow.
as I got in the parking lot, about every, I don't know if it's 3, 4, 5 feet, I didn't go grab a tape measure and see, around the whole perimeter of the parking lot was one feral cat after the next, after the next. I counted 20, 30, who knows how many cats,
Wow.
all like holding space in this valley. And they were all equidistant apart. And it was the coolest. It was a little bit freaky, but it was the coolest
That would have
thing.
freaked me
And
out.
I thought it was one of the most spiritual experiences. So I look
Wow.
at all cat visits differently as being something very special to them, as being able to recognize your energy, what's going on in your life. And
Hmm.
those cats, we went back there at night several times after that. We'd see a few cats, never that many. Wow, was that a special experience?
Wow. What do you think that they're holding space for you or are they holding space for the valley or
Maybe
both?
both. I don't believe anything is a coincidence. When you get a whole series of cats crossing the road in front of you, first off, drive slowly.
Right.
Secondly, there could be a reason for that. And
Yeah.
so if you're privileged to witness the tree falling in the woods that nobody hears, for instance, there's always a reason for that.
Mm.
That has to do with you. Sure, there's more of a global significance too, but you were allowed to be a participant, even as being a viewer of this,
Yeah, it
which
just
makes
feels
you
like a
feel part of it.
magical, like it seems like to me, there's this otherworldliness part of it, right? So you're walking out of this beautiful hike and then just seeing these circle of cats around you. Like there's something like, what else is going on here that I don't
Bingo.
really see? And so maybe it has this veiled, it was right around Halloween when I saw these cats, and it's right
Mhm.
around Halloween now. Or I don't know when it was when you were going through the hike, but yeah, it almost feels like there's this thin veil between the worlds. And even in Matrix, they have this scene with this cat, and it kind of
The
and it
deja vu,
yeah, the
yes.
deja vu, and it's like this. There's that kind of quality to cats and the both of our scenarios. Now, you just went through past life regression for your anniversary present. What did you find? Talking about veils.
It was awesome. It was very subtle and I think all transformative.
Hmm.
So there have been, I call it the screw up gene. I've done a lot of work on myself, a lot, a lot. And I love myself, I respect myself tremendously. With that said, there's still this wiring inside of me that could get upset or berate myself or be fearful that I'm going to, quote, screw something up that seems very discordant with my current nature.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said mentioned it on a show with Barry Eaton last week because he's experienced it too, and I said I'm very embarrassed to share. I'm like, it's not how I normally am, and I do so much rewiring in my mind. Why is this still there?
Hmm.
You know, there's even used to be this really hostile voice in me that would say, you don't deserve to live. If you don't do X, Y, or Z, you don't deserve to live.
Wow.
What the heck?
Mm.
Very, very odd and at odds with everything I stand for, all the work I do, all the work I have done, the meditations, you name it. And if that even mildly comes out, um, I am Jessica's world. She is my world too. But we live and dance and do everything in life together. So if I have those messages playing in me, it affects her world too.
Hmm.
And so she's like, the greatest gift I can give this marriage
Huh.
is to go hunting and figure out where that's coming from.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so I went down to the hypnotherapist in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I had a list of 14 things we could work on. But I had my SMP, my single-minded purpose, and the single-minded purpose was let's dive in, figure out where this is coming from and what we can do about it.
Hmm.
And so, oh, go ahead.
So what did she do? Yeah.
So, you know, she held my hand for a minute. She took a quick reading. We talked for a little bit. Then she put me under hypnosis. And I was concerned about this because they say only 10% or so of the population actually goes deep into hypnosis. Most people, it's more of a surface level thing where you remember everything, you're conscious about it, you even know what you're saying. And I've had a past life regression before, which I think went really well, but at the time I was concerned, who really said those things?
Right.
Did somebody else come up with it? Was that just my ego, my imagination? I didn't want that experience this time. So as she's putting me semi under, she didn't get me fully under, which is fine. Wasn't
Right.
supposed to go fully under. All those concerns are there, and I'm like, just drop them, just drop them, just drop them. And she asks a few questions. First off, beforehand, she was asking, "Are we supposed to work on this lifetime or past lifetime?" And I said, "I'm out. I don't want anything to do with this experience.
Right.
Wherever we're supposed to go, you guide me, guides guide me. I don't want to come up with this
Right.
at all." And so she puts me under and she asks, uh, "Where's the first place that comes to mind to you?" I'm blank. I'm like, not trying to think of a place, not trying to think of a place. Not going there, not going there, not going there. And I'm like, I'm nowhere.
Where, nowhere.
I'm nowhere.
Hmm.
She goes, "Well, what does it mean to be in nowhere?" And I'm like, "Darkness. I think I see a faint glow, maybe a little bit light, might be a little bit of a pinkish light." And she kept ferreting it out. And I need to Google this term. She said that I was in Bardo,
Oh, I know
which,
what the Bardo is. Yeah.
so please enlighten us.
Well, no, I think I know what the Bardo is. It's a Buddhist idea, which is it's a place that you go between death, like you die, and then you go in the Bardo, and then you go to wherever your spirit goes to the next state. But it's this kind of it's in the it's the in between stage between this life and your next life. It's almost like when you go to the train station and you're like, okay, I bought a ticket to go to Boston, but I'm waiting for, I don't like, and you wait for the train or bus to go take you to Boston. But in this case, you don't know where the ticket is going. You're just sitting in the train station. That's
So
my
I was,
understanding of Bardo.
that's a good description. I was sitting in the train station.
Hmm.
If we want to go with a Matrix analogy, I was, what is it, Neo in the third movie where he's in the station and he doesn't know if he's going to be able to get out of the station.
I haven't seen that one,
Um,
but I don't remember
uh,
that one. But yeah, it's like actually the a lot of the stuff in the Matrix is Buddhist oriented.
yeah. So I'm in this nothing place, and so I describe nothingness, and I describe how I'm feeling, and then she asks me, wow, what a powerful question. She asks me, how did you come into this lifetime? Did you choose your mother? Did your mother choose you? Or was it karmic? And when she asked, did you choose your mother? I got this wave of emotion over me
Hmm.
that was like, hold on to the couch. Wow, was it powerful.
Hmm.
And after that, I just about started to cry. And then I envisioned my mom on the beach and my dad on the beach. They were like playing, was it a beach ball or something? My mom was in this one piece dress from like the 60s.
Wow.
My dad was looking so young and fit. It was just incredible to see them there. And in theory, I guess, I was viewing them as I had chosen them before I had come incarnate.
Hmm.
And that's where the fun begins. You see, I was talking with my parents about this. Poor mom was kind of disturbed as I was talking about this last night. I love you, mom. I love you so much. And she has so much guilt over our childhood and how she doesn't feel she did it right.
Hmm.
And so much guilt over it. And there was a question: is this messaging from my parents, specifically from my mom? What I got out of the next part of the past life regression, or I guess Bardo regression, if we want to call it, pre-womb regression even, was that when I separated from God, from source, from whatever we call it, and was going into my mom or preparing to go into my mom, I had an oh crap moment
Mm-hmm.
and didn't like the feeling of separation
Mm-hmm.
and wanted anything to get back to source. And that was the inception, the moment of you screwed everything up, Michael, because
Mm.
I desperately wanted to go home, felt I had made a bad decision. As the regression goes, why did I choose my mom? Because she was in a lot of pain. Why did I choose her? Because I wanted to learn kindness and compassion and to help her with the pain, her pain. I also chose a lot of physical accidents and injuries so that I could experience pain, so I could be more kind and compassionate and help other people with their pain. In the
Mm.
moment of choosing, once I was separated from source, I knew what I was in for and I freaked out.
Oh.
And in that moment, I was very upset with myself, with my higher self, with my spirit, whatever we want to call it. And when I came into this earth, into this planet, whatever you call it, onto this earth, I carry that with me. It's like you can call it Christianity, the original sin. In this case, it's the original screw up that I carried with me is how could you have done that? How could you have left God? How could you have left source? I'm so angry. I'm so disappointed. Maybe even the I deserve to die is a way of saying, I want to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Once we understood that, once the hypnotherapist understood that, she could do whatever she was doing. And she was doing things both verbally and non-verbally. She's a channel herself, and she was doing a lot. And she says that there are guides there with me and helping guide me through this process. Whatever she did, and there was a lot more to it, but this is kind of the express version. Um, when I came back or came to, my languaging has changed in my mind,
Mm.
which is just fascinating to me. So, historically, I'm all good. I'm centered. I'm calm. I'm present. If I'm on by myself or with Jessica and something doesn't go quite right, usually I'm fine. I'm perfect. But I could start to say something and all of a sudden go, how did you screw that up? What kind of an idiot are you?
Mm.
And all of a sudden I'll like step back and go, where did that come from? But more than the language that comes out, all of a sudden there's this fiery emotion, this pitta emotion that comes to it.
Mm.
And then I'm getting upset about being upset. And then I'm getting upset and disappointed and judgmental of myself being upset. And on it goes to the races just because I open my mouth. So if something's not going perfectly, I'll tell Jessica, just please don't make me say anything. Just
Mm-hmm.
give me a minute or two because my internal language is love.
Right.
It's kindness and compassion as long as I don't open the mouth and let those things get going.
Mm.
Now, and so before the past life regression, if I was to say, Michael, you're a screw up, and I'm listening and I'm hearing and I'm feeling a wave like the wave of emotion that came over me when the question was, did you choose your mom? That same wave of picture getting pulled over in your car and you get all of a sudden your adrenaline system goes
Yeah.
to the max or
Cops coming.
something.
Ah, yeah, like that.
Yeah, just this whoosh over you. So if I was to say I'm a screw up, I would get this whoosh come
Wow.
over me, followed by a you stupid boop.
Right.
Now, when I say that, you are a screw up, Michael. First off, it doesn't even feel right. I want to stop halfway through, apologize, I love you, I love you, I love you, it's all good. It doesn't fit. There's one of the things
Mm.
she talked about with me afterwards. Is she goes, you might feel like you have a hole now, like there's a gap because
Right.
something has been such a regular repeating pattern. It feels like something's missing.
Right.
It's weird if I start to do any of those languaging or sequencing things that would get me in trouble by speaking them. It's not there. It doesn't feel like it belongs. It doesn't feel like it's me. And I stop short, not out of a don't say that or you'll bring your negative energy down. You know, you just had Dr. Joe Dispenza on 2 days ago. You got to watch
Right.
your energy, which we did. But it'll just be oh, that doesn't feel right. No, don't need to do that.
Mm.
Um, And, the first night I actually had a massive, I didn't even tell Jessica about this. She's like, I had the most blissful dream about you. I'm like, it's good. I love you. And I didn't tell her. I had the most awful, screwed everything up dream in the world where, like, I don't know, I was in trouble for renting this car. I jotted it down and I was in trouble with the mafia and this, and I really ruined our lives, but I didn't
Right.
tell her.
Right.
So last night, though, I had a dream about half of the neighborhood I grew up in
Mm.
being paved over with brand new pavement,
Mm.
and had this amazing place. I love to skate. I live to skate. I won't skate anymore because of my near death experience, number one, but
Mm.
it is a true love and joy of mine. And the neighborhood was completely changed, giving me this massive, beautiful area to skate. It was a
Mm.
dream about rebirth. And then I had a second dream about rebirth or rebooting and having all of these new beautiful opportunities open to me. And then I got a third dream, and the hypnotherapist had said, I'm not going to plant seeds in you, but do watch for signs and symbols and dreams. And I got another dream about rebirth. And right now I'm exhausted, CJ. I think a big part of that is the regression. I'm out of sync with my body. It's something happened to the mind, and it's going to take, the bell has been rung, a few more days for me to calm everything down and fully
Well,
integrate
yeah, there's
what's going
integration
on.
period. Yeah. You're going through an
So,
integration and your body's taking you down so that you won't be running around doing interviews and such. You can just kind
well,
of sleep and integrate.
it was the ultimate irony. I'm like, yeah, I'm supposed to rest for a few days. I've got 2 interviews tomorrow. I've got 4 coaching sessions. Let's go. So I will be napping like a madman this weekend.
Yeah.
But it's different. It's liberating. I want everybody to go out and do this, to find the right past regression therapist, but everybody. And it is one of those pieces that I've used every tool under the sun that I can think of and still didn't quite get it. And who knows if I'm fully there? Who even knows what fully there is? But it's a radical transformation that I can see very clearly. It's going to affect all of my energy. My last few days' interviews have been incredibly special. I've been even more present, and I feel kinder, gentler, softer in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Only way I can
You feel
describe
more
it.
grounded to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I can't tell which of that is just from being sick. You know what I mean? Because when I'm sick, it's kind of like, oh. Well, what's interesting, I have so many things to share. There's this body of work called Healing from the Body Level Up. And they have this idea, and Enneagram. And these two things kind of merge into one. There is this idea that when you come and when you so you can actually think of this in the biblical story, or you can think of it as kind of just like the physical story that we are kicked out of heaven or wherever, and then we go through and we're separated we're separated from God. And in that passage from being, let's say that we're in heaven, this is the story, right? Like whether you believe in heaven or not, but this is just the spiritual story. You're connected one with God. You get cut off for whatever reason. You go through this void, and then you come out the other side, and you're human living on this plane, wondering, what the heck did I do to be disconnected? What did I do?
Sounds like my regression.
Yeah, so it's basically this period of it's a fall from grace. And what the Enneagram says is that there are 9 different stories that we make up for why we got separated from God. So some of them are like, I'm not good enough, or I'm not perfect enough, or I need to merge with people. And mine is kind of like, screw you, I'm going to show you not to shove me out. So like everyone has their different story.
Fire.
Yeah, well, that's my kind of that's my orientation. And so you have, what this model would say is that you have a story with why you got kicked out of heaven. And in this passage in between where you're in heaven and on earth is called the void in this model. I think in the Buddhist term, you could call it the bardo. I don't know if I don't know. I'm not a Buddhist, so I don't really know. But there is this period where there's a void, where there is nothingness. And I've popped into this place probably about 10 years ago, I would go to sleep and I would just pop up into the void. And it was one of the scariest things that I've ever experienced because I'd think, where am I? And I'd look for my hands and they didn't exist. And I'm like, where's my voice? And like, I couldn't hear my voice. Everything, I was nothing. Everything was obliterated. And so in this healing from the body level up model or the Enneagram model, they say, well, you make up a story because the fact that in that period when you're nothing, the thought of being nothing is so incredibly terrifying that you make up some falsehood, some identity. I am not perfect enough, or I am, better than you, and that's why I'm going to show you. I'm going to get back into heaven. That's mine. But you have a story that you make up and you create like an identity because you don't want to not have an identity. So here you pop up on the other side, you create a story that your whole life is based, your whole perspective on life, according to the Enneagram, is this is the one snap to position that you go to every single time, regardless of whatever, like when you get stressed out, boom, you're right there in this perspective, no matter how much work you do. Um, I'm speaking from my own experience of doing all this work in Enneagram 8, and I've done a ton of work like yourself. But I'll get to the point, like, I'm in New York, I'm like, F you, I'm getting in the ticket, like all that stuff comes flying back, right, when I'm back in that stress. So in this model, it would say that you go to this snap in position, and this is a false identity that you build to explain what your original sin, why you got disconnected from God. And so when you remove that, it's a pretty big thing. Like there's a story, and then there are all sorts of energies that you use to compensate because that story is awful. Like I got disconnected because I'm not perfect. That story is awful. So then you do all sorts of things to make yourself perfect. And then that, like, it's just this whole construct and a bunch of energy that is spent like building up this whole illusionary story. When in reality, we're all perfect, right? Or we're all, my guess is you're an Enneagram 1, but I don't know. Do you know what your Enneagram type is?
I know nothing about it. I'm learning. I'm listening and I'm learning.
Yeah,
It's
I would
cool,
like for
cool,
you to
cool.
take an Enneagram test to see, because then I can actually, I'll send you a map afterwards, and I'll tell you what it says, like what your fall from grace story is, what the fundamental delusional thought that you start, perspective that you start adopting because you come up with this original thought. So that makes
Sure.
sense
So I've got
of.
to ask for the listeners, is there a place that they can go and take something as well?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of if you can go and do Enneagram tests, and there is this book called Enneagram Made Easy, and it has like the original story, your fall from grace. The whole thing on the Enneagram is that you have fallen from grace, and therefore you have to have some reason for some fundamental reason where you disconnect from spirit, and that fundamental reason then pivots and orients your perspective of what you think life is all about. And so when you kind of like loosen up that idea, it just so many different, you're able to more fluidly go around the Enneagram circle versus just be stuck in that position. Although my caveat, having done this myself, is when you do this, when I'm stressed out, I turn into my Enneagram type an 8. But there's a place that you go, and then if I don't do any work, I go into a 5, which is like I just go into a hermit mode. And then if I'm in my very best whole harmonious self, I go into a 2, which is about giving and being the helper. So it just there's all these interesting things in the Enneagram model. There are a whole bunch of authors who've written stuff. So if you ever are interested, but I think when you're telling me your experience, it feels like that past life regression was about a lot of this, going into this void or bardo or a place of nothingness, creating a story, and then investigating that story and going, oh, wait a second, that's not true. And what would be interesting is to look at all the little maps of things as a result of having that belief that I'm going to F up somehow, right? There's probably a whole bunch of things that you do so that you don't. Like, that's not true. And that creates other stories. Does that make sense? It creates
Oh,
a whole list of
and
other stories.
I got goosebumps. I think it's going to be a whole ripple effect. Even preparing for a show, and this morning This is without complaint. I'm going, I'm exhausted. I just want to be asleep. I've got 2 interviews coming up. I've still got a book to read. I've got a person to research. And rather than the emotions really going up, which usually they do, and I surf those emotions, it's okay to have the emotions. But I got more of a sense of just lean into it. You are just so totally fine. You're over 700 interviews in.
Yeah, you're going to be
You're
fine.
good, Michael. You're
Yeah.
just good. But that's not my normal. My normal default, I can get myself through it, no problem. But normal default is my nervousness is going to go up quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this time there was more of a calming voice that was able to come over me,
Mm-hmm.
that was much more reassuring than before, where before, I don't know, I've got this visualization of a calming oil. And
Mm.
before it would be the calming oil put on top of fire, where I'd say, be calm. And I'd be like, well, you be calm. I've got an interview to prep for.
That's really interesting. So I think that having done, I do past life regression stuff all the time on myself. If I
Mhm.
wake up in the middle of the night, I'm like, I don't know why I'm thinking about this. I literally do a past life regression and put myself out. And I know that when I'm
Cool.
sleeping, stuff is happening. Um, but it is I mean, this is like your worldview. This has been your worldview for so long. And so imagine as if you were sitting on the North Pole and then all of a sudden someone's like, and you're looking, you're sitting on the world and you're in the North Pole and you're looking down the world and that is what the world looks like according to you. And now all of a sudden, you're on the South Pole. You're like, wait a second, this is what the world looks like. There's a lot of integration and destabilization that happens because your worldview probably has just fundamentally shifted because this is like a major point in the way that you look at things. And so yeah, be gentle with yourself.
I will be extra gentle. We went the next morning for, I didn't realize how down I was. Not down emotionally, far from it. Although I wasn't in a woohoo place, I was just mellow. But
Yeah.
we went out kayaking, and I'm like, paddle, paddle. And, and about 10 minutes later, Jessica's like, what's up? I'm like, no chi. And she goes, are you good? I'm like, yeah, I think so. There's so many ripple effects that I'm like, I'm Mr. Gung Ho. Want to go ride my 50, 60, 70 miles and do my runs and my swims. And this weekend, I'm like, nap.
Yeah.
Let's see how much I can nap or
Yeah.
lay on the earth or just be and let the bell that's been rung start to calm down. And the writing's interesting. The automatic writing, though I haven't had that much energy, that's been interesting. Last night I was so thrilled. I was like, ah, I can sleep. No, I actually just want to sit. I know I'm exhausted, but I want to just sit and be in this energy for a little while.
Mhm.
And it's rare after an exhausting day to want for me to meditate in the evening. But I'm like, wow, this is delicious. I'm like, I wonder if this could become a habit. And it doesn't need to be. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Mhm.
But it was so different that I just wanted to be in that space. So
Right.
there's some
Well, I
big
think that
shifts that I,
reinvention, yeah, that reinvention process, like you said, I mean, when you reinvent and then reboot, there has to be rest. I mean, it's beyond refresh. I mean, there has to be solid rest. And I'm experiencing that myself. I mean, like I said, I'm in this kind of low. I'm not depressed, but my energy is not at the same kind of manic hyper level that it normally is. It's just like, okay, I just need to like chill out. Like people were asking me, like, do I need to go to bed? We should get together. I'm like, no, we're not going to get together. It's like, call me in 3 months. I mean, honestly, I've reconciled that for actually a month ago, that'd be for 3 months. And I've just given my extension to have another 3 months of just not having a lot of stuff happening because like there's a recomposition that's happening, a reintegration, recomposition, and it's almost as if you know how you get operated on, and if you run off and like pretend your life is just the way it was, it can actually set you back in terms of your
oh yeah,
healing process. I think kind of similar kind of thing psychologically consciously, like if you like, okay, rebooted, I'm done. Ha ha, you're running out. It's like you're not giving, like your body's like, well, hold on a second. I was on the North Pole and you just put me on the South Pole, or sometimes it's less severe. You're on the East. But yours sounds like you went over to the North, to the opposite pole, right? And that just takes a while to integrate because your whole worldview has shifted. Like when you're walking around, things look and feel different, right? So I don't know. And what's interesting is that they in this whole idea of this dark night of the soul, I'll say that you'll go through a huge transformational moment. And then your ego's like, no, wait a second. What about my needs? And it will try to push you back into, well, no, I have a lot, like to me, the ego's voice is, oh, no, Michael, you have a bunch of interviews. You need to go do that, blah, 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 blah. Like that's kind of like, no, go back to where you were. Go back to the North Pole. Go back to the North Pole.
Get in your box fast.
Exactly.
Back in the box.
Exactly. And what it's great is you're like, no, I don't. Like, I don't have to do that. I don't have to do, but it's the ego gets so, the dark night of the soul is the ego pushing back, going like, where did I go? What about my needs? Go back to the North Pole.
And it's interesting. If you over rev, if I was to push myself at this time, I could see how you could slip back
yes,
into the old pattern, even if it's gone, because it's just a resignation. I'm too exhausted to even think about that. And then, like you said, you've just torn apart your sutures and who knows what.
exactly. So I think it's best that I'm actually talking less to you and more to myself because I have the
Let's not
same.
tear the sutures, CJ.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just met with Lee Harrison. He's like, yeah, you need to rest more. I'm like, more? Like, I felt like I was just coming out of it, coming out of New York and feeling like a lot of lifted energy. And he's like, no, you still need to rest and be by yourself for the same exact reasons. And so I'm talking to myself as much as I am you.
We'll
It's
go
hard
through
to
this
do.
together, and I am certainly going to lay low and cherish this
Yeah.
reboot period. I know I'll be on fire again, but in different ways probably. I
Yeah.
have no idea. I'm like, man, what if I actually liked like kayaking more than cycling or running afterwards? I'm like, everything's up in the air. It's just a silly question, but your likes and
Maybe
dislikes, all of
you
a sudden it
will.
could be vanilla, not chocolate.
Yeah.
So be it. Let's just allow
Yeah.
allow in this moment for the reboot to take place. Take care of what you need to, but go, I guess it would be
Right.
go as gently as you can
Yeah.
into this good night.
Well, it's the ego that goes, what if you like chocolate versus vanilla? You're going to be different. That's not going to be good. How is your life going to orient if you all of a sudden you like kayaking? That's the ego running amok, I think. Having been in this, I think I may have preceded you in this place over the last month or two. I've been kind of in this, it's in the don't know mindset. Because if you literally shift your perspective and you surrender to that, I'm going from the North Pole to the South Pole and I surrender. Meaning, like, whatever happens is meant for my highest and best good because it's happening. So, worrying about whether it's chocolate or vanilla or how do I get back to the North Pole, that is just the ego. And it's so strong for me. And I don't know about you, but it's so strong for me that it's like every day I have to remind myself it's okay. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know. Maybe it's going to be strawberry. Maybe it's like not even a flavor available, you know? So just stop trying to make things happen. Just allow whatever is happening to happen. It's hard to
I couldn't
do.
agree more. I sent Jessica an email earlier today, so this will be interesting to watch, which is she's been wanting me to do Facebook Live and do all these different live stuff for a show, like once a
Hmm.
week, like Sunday evening. And I've been resistant because it's actually quite scary to me.
Hmm.
Um, I'm really good behind the camera, but to put it on me without me having anything in particular to say, it's a skill that you develop like anything else,
Hmm.
and I haven't developed that skill yet. Well, I had a free strategy session with a potential coaching client a night or two ago after the regression, and I was like, wow, do you grasp just how much you have to share? Do you really get this, Michael? Do you get this on a
Hmm.
deep level? How much you're able to help? And I said, and I was thinking, I did this in like 15 minutes. And actually, I got to the crux of it like right away. And I'm like, huh, I guess I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I emailed Jessica and I said, why don't we do some sort of a thing once a week, a live thing, where we have listeners actually live who ask their questions and I help them on the air. And this isn't revolutionary. So many people have done this in the history of radio and television. But for me to say that was unheard of. And she responded, it's about time. And it got me thinking, there was no ego in there. And who knows if it'll happen or not. But that was one of those chocolate vanilla things, now that you mention it, that I'm going, I never would have said that
Mm-hmm.
3 days ago. It wasn't even in my scope of possible doings.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, this feels good. Let's do this. And that could change tomorrow, but definitely you're right. I'm on the other hemisphere right now. And I'm going, well, this is interesting down here. Very, pretty different in a vanilla-ish Carib bean kind of way.
I love it. It's so exciting to witness and be with you during this part of your journey. It's fun.
It goes both ways. And
Yeah.
I'm open. That's all I can say is I'm open. I have absolutely no idea. But I like the dreams. They were much more
Yeah.
positive because my dreams have been
Well,
historically wackily bad.
your unconscious is like regrouping and like it's basically that work is now pivoting all the visual imagery and thoughts that how your unconscious is kind of woven together. And so it's like it's like you have this golden path that was maybe not so golden in your childhood, right? I mean, it's very cool. It's cool. I don't know if I think I have had dream stuff happen, but I'm not as conscious. I think that it was great for your hypnotherapist to recommend that.
Yeah, and I journal as much as I can every dream. I don't keep a journal by my bed. That's probably would be better. Instead, I have to replay the dream in my head and then go make a sprint for my computer and type it
Mm-hmm.
all down. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you get there and you go, ah, no dream.
Yeah.
It's gone. But these were just very clear, and I was like, wow, different, cool, different,
I
so
just have to
different.
you have to interview, or I'll send you the interview that I did with this guy about dream interpretation because it was really good. He has a process that you go through to interpret the dreams, and it's fantastic. Um,
Which gentleman is this?
I'll send you the link to it,
Okay.
and if you're interested, um, I'll send it over to you. So, any closing words? This has just been so exciting, actually, for you. Really exciting.
Thank you. I'm basking in the excitedness with a nice calm energy.
Yeah, yeah. Your energy does feel different for sure.
She said, I see maybe a little glow around people, but I don't see like light or anything of that sort really. And she said that it changed more or it changed during that experience.
Wow.
And she called Jessica in, and now Jessica was expecting something, so it's not fair, but she called her into the room right afterwards, and she said, "He's a new man. I can feel it."
That's so great. That's cute. Jessica's so cute.
She is.
She's
She
adorable.
really, really is.
She is.
Any last words of wisdom?
No, I think
Whether
just be transformation happens. Your ego is going to come trying to barreling back and to um, love your ego as it's trying to do that and recognize that it feels uncomfortable, but to remember your ultimate goal, which is to, surrender into whatever has happened, to transform to whatever the transformation is trying to have happen.
woohoo, I would add, be with it. Whether you do a past life regression, a hypnotherapy session, whether you're just going for a walk on a hillside, or whether you just feel that you've been through so much that you just need to take that time to reboot, give yourself that gift. It's like going out and buying yourself a cake, something in our own way that we need to do more for ourselves, to give
Mm-hmm.
ourselves that gift.
Mm-hmm.
But give yourself that gift of sweet, precious, nothing time,
Mm-hmm.
and allow yourself, even especially if you're a parent and you still need to take care of the kids or the kitties or the poochies, but be as gentle as you can and allow yourself to do a reboot, to go into the cocoon, to allow the dust to settle. I think so often, and we've had guests like Matt Kahn on the show who would say that painful moments in life are never the pain that we expect that they are, they're upgrades.
Mm-hmm.
And if we realize that and take the time to allow it to integrate, we come out a newer, better, more special person each time.
Mm-hmm.
And so to recognize that these times when you feel you want your energy to go down doesn't mean it's the time to slay the dragons and push forward. Instead, allow the upgrade to take place.
Love it.
Love it.
Woohoo!
Woo! So, for everyone out there, this is Michael Sandler and
CJ Lou.
saying, be well, have fun, do your own reboot, and be kind and gentle through the process, and shine bright.
Woohoo!
It means so much to me that you're listening to the show and would love your support in any way by giving me comments below or to subscribe to the show or share the show with friends. Thank you again for your support. Love and blessings.